Hey guys, mission today is go to St. Louis. My wife's mom is feeling a little under the weather. She wants to go visit her. So 10 hours of car driving, or about under 3 hours in the plane. So we're gonna make ourselves 7 bonus hours today. So hopping in the plane, fresh oil change, new battery. Let's see how it goes. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go get her started up. So, flying from the Chicago area to the St. Louis area. We're gonna have lunch with some friends. My wife's gonna see her mom. And like I said, we could drive 10 hours of driving in a day, though, doesn't really work, but we'll be down there in about an hour and a half. So really another handy use for this airplane. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. My wife's a fan of the airplane. Get to see her daughters, get to see her mom, right?
Yep, good stuff.
Get it all. We're going in for Avionics. This is the last trip we're going to take for a little while because on Tuesday, I'm flying this shop up to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and they're going to put in a bunch of avionics. If you guys have been keeping track of the progress, the final decision, 2 GI 275s, then a GNC 355 GPS WAS Navcom, new audio panel, Garmin 345 audio panel, Bluetooth. We could talk on the phone through the headsets, get our clearances, and then we upgraded to an engine monitor that I think it's a JPI or JDM, one of those, JPI 830 color engine monitor. So got a lot invested in this new engine, and for safety, we like to keep an eye on it. If something starts going wrong with a cylinder that we don't happen to be monitoring. Right now, I'm just looking at one EGT, one CHT. We could do better than that. So that's the final configuration. Engine monitor, class cockpit, redundancy, autopilot we're going to hold off on. Had a buddy with the autopilot I was looking at, had a lot of problems with it, with the servos, and I just don't want to be involved in those headaches. So I'm just going to stick with what I got for now. This plane flies so well. I always usually have Quinn with me flying. Really don't need an autopilot right now. Used to flying approaches at 180 knots. You know, this thing we're coming in at, 90 miles an hour. It's like slow motion, so really not necessary. All right, anyways, we'll be back with you in a second for the takeoff. All right, folks, here we go. Got Mrs. Quinnjim running the old camera for us. Maybe do a little picture in a picture. Maybe do a split screen. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. All right, engine press are all good. Here we go. Heels on the floor, full power. 28 inches of manifold pressure. We like that. RPMs are right at the red line. 60 miles an hour, 65. Birds. Missed the birds. Little horn, that's cool. And we are off on our adventure. So now, if you get down here, get these instruments right here and the blue and the red knob if you would. Can you get all down here? Okay, so now for climb power, they say it's at 23 inches, so right here I'm going to pull the throttle back. I'm going to go a little below 23 inches, because when we bring the props back, it comes back, so that's the throttle. Now the props right here, I'm going to unscrew this fancy little prop control to 2450. That's our climb setting. 23 inches, 2450, we're all set. Cowl flaps are open. That's a 182 takeoff. Okay guys. Now we're going to climb. We're at 3,000 feet to stay underneath the O'Hare Class B airspace, but now we're beyond it, so we're going to climb. So in a high-performance airplane like this, you have to be concerned about engine cooling. When you climb, you have to open the cowl flaps. Cowl flaps are openings in the bottom of the wing. When you open them up, it lets a lot more air flow through the engine and keeps the engine much cooler. So first, come down here, Bubba. My cowl flaps are closed because we're cruising, so I'm going to open them up all the way, increase the airflow. I'm going to come here to the mixture. I'm going to increase the mixture all the way in. And then we should be at 23 squared. I'm going to bump it up. Always come down here to the throttle. On a constant speed propeller, if you're going to add power, you always do the propeller first. You never want to tell the propeller to turn slow and give it all the power. That's not good math. So I'm going to increase this here to 2450. 23 inches here with the throttle, and we're just going to start climbing. I'm going to pitch up and do a little bit of a cruise climb. I got my cowl flaps open, my mixture rich. I set the prop first, then the throttle, and that's how we do a climb. in the Cessna 182, or in a lot of high-performance planes.
Roger, standby. Traffic obstruction.
There we go. Okay, guys, we just leveled at 6,500 feet. That's right here. And now for a good level off, a lot of guys level off and they pull power. Well, then you're going to spend the next 10 minutes trying to get up to speed. The proper technique is keep your climb power in until you get your cruise airspeed. So that's what we're going to do. So we're leveling off here. Building speed, building speed. And now we're just about up to our cruise speed. So now, I'm going to come back here. I got 23 inches set in. That's fine. I'm going to roll back these RPM to 2,300. So down to this blue knob. I'm just going to counterclockwise roll, and you'll see the RPM go down. This is a fine-tune adjustment little RPM knob we put in there. So there's 23 inches, 2,300. Then we'll come down here to our cowl flaps. Since we're not climbing anymore, we have a good amount of air going over the engine. We could close our cowl flaps. So I'm going to do that. And that's pretty much our cruise checklist complete. So we'll sit here for another minute. The next thing I have to do, might point out we're going 143 knots, which is pretty cool. I have to lean it out. As you climb up, the air gets thinner and thinner and thinner. There's a ratio of fuel to air that burns best in the engine. As you climb up and the air gets thinner, you're putting the same amount of fuel in there and less air. You're not at the optimum ratio. And you're also burning a lot of extra gas. So now we'll come over to this gauge right here. This is the temperature. I'm going to switch it to exhaust gas temperature, EGT, right? And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to roll back the mixture until we find the peak. So this is the mixture, and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be unscrewing that, and I'll go back to the EGT, babe. We'll try and see where it maxes. So I'm coming back, and notice the temperature rises. I'm going to bring it back until the temperature, it stops rising. We kind of find the peak. And since we're breaking a new engine in, I'm going to go 100 degrees rich of peak. So it's lean, lean, lean. Still leaning. Getting warmer. See how it's still climbing? I'm going real slow. I'll even pause and let it catch up. All right, still leaning out. 15, usually around, trying to think, 15, 6, ooh, 15, now it doesn't want to go back. Ooh, I just found it. See how, now it's going backwards, right? The peak is 1550, so I'm going to roll it in. I'm increasing the mixture, and we're going to run it at 1450. So get a shot of it when it hits 1450, and then we will be properly leaned, and the whole cruise checklist is complete at that point. So there's 1460. It's going down a little too far, so I'm going to lean it out a little more. So we're going to try and do 1450. So if you're flying an old 182, that is how you level it off. Show the ground speed real quick, 150 knots. That's really good news for right now. It's really bad news for the flight home. Because that's probably about a 20 knot. But you know what, on the way home, what we'll do is we'll go lower. Instead of 6,500, maybe we'll stay down at 3,500 where there's less wind. I kind of climbed up higher to take advantage of more wind. So that's what we're doing. Does all that make sense, dude?
Yep.
All right, got my lovely bride here. Okay, you can stop filming. So anyways, we're leveled off. Another interesting factoid is we just flew over Skydive Chicago, and I happened to notice the little parachute symbol. And I called up, so we're 10 miles north flying southbound, and got in touch with the jump plane. And he actually said, he asked me at first to fly east or west of the field, which obviously you want to do. You don't want a face full of skydiver in your windscreen. But then he said, actually, all the parachuters are down, and he needs gas, so I had an opportunity there where he wasn't going to be jumping or dropping people. I still went a little around it, though. I don't know. I don't like... If you guys see those little parachute things on the side of the map, hopefully you respect those and you call up their frequency and make sure you don't run into any parachuters, because that's impolite.
Where is that field?
It is behind and to our left. You see the river?
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be able to see it. It's right along that river there. It's a black strip. It says Skydive Chicago right on the pavement. Sorry. All right, so we're getting the operations of the 182 to our viewers. Pretty, hopefully useful. Now I'm looking at my cylinder head temperature. Like I said, I'm watching one cylinder head right now and one exhaust gas temperature probe. I wish I had more. I will in a couple weeks. But I'm showing 385 on my cylinder head temperature. So I'm going to open up these cowl flaps, just one click. And believe it or not, I mean, those cowl flaps, they'll make a difference of, 40, 50 degrees in engine temperature. Really, really crazy. So sometimes if I just crack them a little bit in cruise, if I feel like I'm running a little bit too warm, it'll get right down, the red line on my cylinder head temperature gauge, I think it's around 450. I think you do damage at 450. Most guys never want to hit 400, and they set their alarms at 380. This might be conservative, but as we've been through in some of the other videos, these engines are really expensive. I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to open it up one more click. So I'm just going to keep it below 380. Usually when I'm cruising around up here, 360, 370 is pretty normal. And that's it. You want to respect your cylinder head temperatures. Also, these engines, when you fly the high-performance engines, couple of rules of thumb, like we said, if you're ever adding power, you always add the propeller first, right? That's any of these Piper Arrows, 182s, whatever has a constant speed prop. Add the propellers first, tell it you want the engine to turn the propeller fast, then add the power. But when you get into these big displacement engines, these like an 0470, 0540, or I5, whatever all the engines are, it really is, it's a game of managing temperature. So in the climb, we have cowl flaps, huge difference. In the descent, you want those cowl flaps closed, and usually descending, if you really want to be conservative, you bring the manifold pressure back just like an inch every minute. Just very gradually bring it back. Now you're trying to keep the heat on the engine. At first, you're trying to keep the engine cool. What you don't want to do is have a hot engine and then go power idle and then just zoom on down and shock cool your engine. You could actually crack your jugs. You could do damage to the engine doing that. So they're a little bit temperamental in that, in that regard. You just got to respect them. Keep them cool in the climb. Then in the descent, don't cool them off too fast. And now you basically have a high-performance sign-off from the Quinnjim channel. They know everything they need to know. Got to take care of these engines. They'll run a long time. That's the hope. Running it cool. We're still kind of breaking the engine in. The engine right now has 37 hours on it. So we've flown at 37 hours in just like 2 months. So that's not bad. We're going to put another 3 on it today. And so far it's running great. It's burning no oil. I mean, hardly at all. I think I put 1 quart in between the last oil change. I'm changing the oil every 25 hours because I just like it. The oil change is the easiest thing you could do. Plus, this plane right now does not have a fuel filter. It has a fuel screen. A fuel screen is a filter. It's a metal mesh filter that's very fine and catches everything. But it's a little bit of a hassle to change, and they do, since it's not quite, one of those regular filters, cartridge filters that catches everything, they recommend changing your oil more frequently. Quite honestly, some guys change their oil every 50 hours. I'm going to change mine at 35, 40 anyway. So the downside is I got to change it more frequently. So the upside is, I'm not buying a $30, $35 oil filter every change. I just got to clean my oil, so you save a little money there. But it's amazing the fine particles this filter catches. Not that there's been much, but with an engine break-in, there's going to be a little bit of metal. You just don't want to be able to read a part number on any of the pieces of metal, but a little bit of metal's perfectly normal for this stage. We're also doing oil analysis. First one came back good. Some guys believe in those, some guys don't. I don't see what they hurt, so they look kind of microscopically at what's going on with your oil. I'm loving this ground speed, 150 knots, babe.
Wow.
We're gonna be there in 58 minutes.
Crazy.
I'm coming back solo. I'm dropping my wife off. She's gonna stay for a couple days, rent a car and visit some people, and that's what's happening. So anyways, that's all for now. Hope you learned a little something from that. If we think of something else to say that might be interesting, we'll say it. Otherwise, we'll see you on the landing. Okay guys, we've made a lot of progress. We're now south of Springfield, Illinois, just about 27 miles from St. Louis.
November 386 Golf, you can expect
Talking
your
to St. Louis
descent
approach.
1010 miles.
So starting the descent, we're up high. I got my cowl flap slightly cracked open. Once again, in the descent, you want to protect that heat. You want to keep the heat on the engine. So before I start down, what I'll do is I'll close the cowl flaps completely. I'll enrich in the mixture a little bit because we're going back into that heavier air.
Volunteer 3502.
And then I'll keep the power. I'll pull like 1 inch off of power, maybe go to 22 inches instead of 23. Like I said, the 182 cruises at 23 inches of manifold pressure and 2,300 RPM. I'll probably back it up to 22 inches, and I'll just let it roll.
1305 St. Louis.
We're indicating 145 miles an hour here. We'll go 160, 170 miles an hour in the descent. We'll take advantage of all this altitude, turn that into some speed for us to really close out the flight strong. Really good. We go about 130 knots. We've been indicating 150 all day up high here. Going home, it's going to be bad news. It's going to be a lot slower, but I'll maybe fly back lower and miss some of the headwind. But we're just out here building flight time. That's what's happening. And We're going to do that for the descent. As we come in, we'll bring the mixture more and more forward. And very important to remember, the last thing, the landing checklist.
November 42042, contact approach on 124.2.
124.2, Cessna 042. Important thing to remember is before you land, you have to bring the propeller control all the way forward. You're setting yourself up for the go-around. If you want to go around, you don't want the propeller back at 2,300 RPM and you go full power, 28 inches of manifold pressure, telling the propeller to turn slow.
Grandma in 3-1 uniform, cleared visual
That
approach.
is not good, man. You don't want to do that.
Contact
So,
tower
that's what we'll do. Landing checks will be on. The mixture will be all the way in. The props will be all the way forward. And then we'll come in and land. And that's when we'll check back in with you. Oh, I'll leave you here for the check-in. St. Louis approach, Cessna 42042, 6,500.
November 42042, St. Louis approach. Maintain VFR at or below 5,500. There is traffic 12 to 11 o'clock, 5 miles southbound. Altitude indicates 3,000.
Okay, we're looking for the traffic, and we'd like to start our descent now. Cessna 042.
042, approved as requested.
All right, we're starting down.
Where's the traffic?
All right, folks, here we are. We're on right downwind for runway 35 at St. Louis Regional Airport. We called up 8 miles north, and he told us to enter the right downwind, and he said clear to land. So we're doing it all. Put my first set of flaps out, and the 182, the first set of flaps, you put up to 160 miles an hour, and the rest you have to wait for the white arc, which is 110 miles an hour. So I'm at about 115 here. I'm gonna have to bleed a little speed. Once again, in the descent, I was just trying hard to just not shock cool the engine. I didn't want to pull it back to idle and zoom down. I kept 23 inches of manifold the whole descent, and we were indicating 160, 165 miles an hour. All right, you guys might be able to see the runway back there. Maybe in the distance, possibly. It's that way. Gonna turn base. I'm gonna put more flaps down. So I've already gone to flaps 30 here. We're a little high, it's gonna help us get down. You did hear the words clear to land, didn't you, Bubba?
Yeah.
That's what I heard too. All right, so the final descent checklist, mixture all the way rich. I'm gonna put the prop all the way forward. And the cow flaps are closed. So if I do a go around, I've just got a full power pitch for the go around, and then I have to remember to open those cow flaps to get the engine cooling in. So right now we're on our right base, runway 35. Okay, here we are turning final. Got 85 miles an hour set in there. Looking good. Land on 35, and then we will take a left-hand turn off and go up Bravo to the FBO around the corner. Then we're gonna go out to lunch. What's the name of that restaurant we're going to?
Sugar Fire.
We're going to Sugar Fire for barbecue, is it?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a 20-knot tailwind this whole flight, you guys. It was great. We were 150 knots. Went Chicago to St. Louis in 90 minutes. In a 1968 182. Okay. Looking good. You see those lights on the side? You see the Vassies, babe? The red over white?
Yep.
If they come in, you guys, 2 on the left are white, 2 on the right are red. That's what you kind of want. I can see we're kind of sinking low. That next one's about to turn red if I don't add some power. St. Louis Regional Airport. We used to call it Alton back when I lived down here. This is where I met my wife, down in St. Louis.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep. So I've flown into this airport a bunch when I was flight instruction back in the day. So that one more light turned red. Now they're all going to turn red, and that's okay. Because if you land on the numbers, that's what happens. Now all the lights are red. Not to worry. Got 80, 85. There we go, right at 80 miles an hour. We're going to bleed it up to 75 on short final. Power to idle. And we're just going to, woo, a little guster. We'll just hold it off. Boy, it got a little gusty all of a sudden. Nice, touchdown, nose way up in the air. Nose has not touched yet for the record. Now the nose is touched.
That was amazing.
And keep filming. We usually take the first left-hand turn.
42042, taxi via Alpha to the ramp.
Alpha to the ramp, 042. Is that our left turn here?
Just continue straight ahead. It'll be the third taxiway on your left.
Oh, the third on the left, gotcha. All right, I thought he was going to have us exit the runway, so keep filming, babe. Here, show this over here, the map. Can you see that? So here's runway 35, we just landed. Here's us. We're coming all the way up here to Alpha. Left-hand turn, and we'll be right by the FBO. Can you see that, or is it too far away? So that's us up here, Alpha, and I assumed he wanted us to exit the runway, but there is nothing going on at St. Louis Regional. Supposed to be a good restaurant down here too. Cow Flaps open. Good restaurant by the tower that everyone raves about. So if you want to come in down here, give that a shot. That's not where we're going though. We're getting in a car, going a little further. Oh, the heat! All of a sudden, I'm feeling the heat. So after landing, cow flaps open, and lean the mixture out a little bit. Beautiful day though. We didn't hit a bump for an hour and a half. It was perfectly smooth. Gorgeous flight, nice tailwinds. You can't ask for a better day than today. My wife was going to literally drive down here at the last minute. I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to drive, huh? Can we just buy an airplane? So, oh, here's the little spot. See this?
Yep.
LOT. Ooh, this one has ropes. I like the ropes. And we can tie it down then. We found a spot. Sorry you can't see it. My filmmaker got bored.
What? Throw me under the bus.
It's all her fault. This video stinks. Sorry. Can't get good help. You get pretty help. You can't get good help.
Baby, it's free.
All right. We're here. Thanks for coming along. I don't think I'm going to film on the way back.